Hey there! Every month, Annie has a call with our Path 365 members and answers their questions. She tackles a wide range of topics from what to do with big emotions, what kinds of tips and advice she has for addressing difficult situations, how to deal with cravings, and so much more. Listen in as she does some real life coaching for our Path members.
Hey Annie, I went for 7 days without drinking and I felt really good about it. I made the conscious decision to drink at a party on the eighth day, and now I have just lost all momentum. How do you stay motivated to be alcohol free?
A few of the things that I kind of want to surface is when we're thinking about our drinking, and I know this is kind of like a broken record, and I do think we need to hear it over and over and over again because it's so counterintuitive to what we've been taught to think. But when we're thinking about our drinking, we're thinking about the behavior, and we're thinking the behavior is dictating more behavior, right? So I drank yesterday because I drank at the birthday party. I might drink today because I drank yesterday. And so we have this false association that it's our behavior, our previous drinking, that's making us give in to drinking now. And I really wanted to ask all those questions because one of the things that was really inspiring and interesting to notice is if you map your feelings through this experience, right? You were feeling more and more inspired, more and more motivated, more and more as if there were hope and possibility for maybe I could take a break. And you came to this decision of 7 days. And this was like it sounds to me like it was a decision with a capital D. It was a very much, this is a goal I can win. And that level of decision and commitment to yourself, you made it through lots of days where there was all sorts of reasons to drink, right? And there was all sorts of difficulty in drinking, but you had kind of that bigger goal. And so every behavior we do, it feels like it's happening to us, but what's really happening is it's often happening based on our emotions. And so your energy right now of like, well, why might you drink today? How do you feel about, you said, I feel like I've lost my momentum. And that thought is like, it feels disempowering. It feels completely disempowering to feel like you lose your momentum. You feel regret. You feel like maybe even the time, even though you're super proud of yourself and your energy shifted and changed when you talked about how proud of yourself you were of those 7 days, that even that could be, it's not even, it doesn't even count now. And all of that. And so what I want to show is that you drinking now is not actually because of your drinking before, it's because of your thinking and your feelings about it. And those thinking and those feelings have shifted from possibility, excitement, commitment, those really resourceful things, to disempowerment, regret, thoughts like I've lost momentum. And so I guess I'm considering two principles. One, when we make a decision based on a goal we know we can achieve, whether that's 24 hours or 48 hours, we have something to kind of lean back on. When we live in this limbo of, okay, now I'm going to try it, but it's like there's no structure to it anymore. It doesn't matter if you drink today or not, because there's no commitment internally to yourself to not. Right. So it's like, oh, I could do it tomorrow. I could do it the next day. I could do it in a week. Eventually, you've kind of abdicated a responsibility for it in a way, or abdicated control over it, because there's a part of your brain that knows that you could not drink for the next 24 hours. 100% certainty. There's no doubt in your mind. There's a part of your brain that honestly knows that you could do it for another 7 days starting today. 100% certainty. But that part is getting like really smushed down by this part of like, you haven't made that commitment, and there's fears about those commitments too, because, well, what if I let myself down? Then I'm going to be worse than I came up with. And I think likelihood of letting ourselves down when we feel disempowered, when we feel regretful, when we're judging ourselves, when we have shame about our behavior, it increases. So it's like two things are coming together to create this lack of momentum. Number one, there's no tangible success-based goal anymore. And again, that incremental micro commitment of what do I know I can win? And number two, there's a whole host of emotions that have been sort of triggered of this disempowerment and regret because momentum was lost. And I would just offer to you that all of that is just old thinking. All of that is just old thinking, right? And really, like, when you talked about how proud you were about those 7 days, like, that's the new thinking. Like, that's amazing. The fact that you drank for the last 4 days, it's so irrelevant. It so doesn't matter. There's nothing about the fact that our journeys are windy and up and down and backward and forward that actually, like, is wrong or bad. It's just how it is. And so the most success can come when you get most in touch with a different thought and a different belief. So right now, your main thought is, I lost my momentum. And so is there a different thought that would give you more of that proud, excited, hopeful emotion that you had before you committed to the 7 days? It's totally different. Your whole energy changes, like, so much lighter. And it's just old programming that we just have to get rid of, because everything you're feeling is so understandable, because it's how the world has taught us to react to, quote, failure. And it's just old. It's just old. Like, those dregs that come up for all of us of that judgment and that shame, and, like, it's just old, and it's just so not resourceful. So, okay, you did it. You freaking did it, dude. 7 days, amazing. You did it. And now you prove to yourself you can do it. It's time to set another goal. Maybe it's bigger. Maybe it's another 7, cumulative 14. But, like, yeah. And maybe it's today, but that's the energy. And so I think for all of us, when we just notice that we tend to blame the behavior, and then it takes our power away. Well, I did it. So now, since I did it, what am I going to do? I lost momentum. There it is. And you can see how that's such a powerless position. Whereas if you come into it and say, you know what, I'm feeling this way because I'm thinking I lost my momentum. What could I think instead? It just gives you so much power back.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you're ready to see how This Naked Mind can help you on your personal health and wellness journey and want to learn more, go to thisnakedmindpodcast.com to learn what your next best step is. Again, that's thisnakedmindpodcast.com. We have all of our free resources, programs, social links, and more available for you there. Plus, if you have your own naked life story to share, you can submit it there as well. Until next week, stay curious.